Bonsoir everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to take a look at the new battle pass that just got out, Operation Luna 1977, which features, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first hybrid nation tier 6 tank to ever get into the game, the Rover, at least to get into the game in a battle pass. And yes, it looks extremely weird, but it's basically a T-37 reskin. There are some differences making this tank better that we're going to talk about in this video, but if you're looking for something that is close to the T-37, for the sake of it, I'm going to show you the T-37 right now. If you're looking to play something that looks like that in terms of gameplay, then go ahead, get the Rover. So, what do you need to know about this tank in 3 or 4 sentences? The first, no armor at all. The second, great gun to play with. The last, great mobility. You guessed it, you are facing a light tank. And like pretty much every single light tank in this game, you are not equipped with any armor at all because, well, 34 millimeters at max on the main gun and on the gun mantlet, which means that you can't bounce anything on your gun mantlet at all. But yeah, 64 kilometers per hour maximum with an average at 42, knowing that if you equip your tank properly with, let's say, improved fuel, you can get to this pretty quickly. And on top of that, the gun dispersion, that is not necessarily the best, but the DPM 1.9k is definitely above everything at tier 6. 140 millimeters of penetration with your regular, 180 millimeter with gold shell. Average damage per shot 160 because you're equipped with a 76 millimeter gun. And finally, the 9 degrees of gun depression that are going to be your best ally in pretty much every single map in this game. Because yes, when you have a light tank, you need to be versatile, and knowing that you have 9 degrees of gun depression really helps you being versatile, because it means that you can work from ridge lines, you can work from hard terrains, soft terrains, hills, etc, etc. But please, there is one thing to avoid doing with this tank. It's getting shot into the turret, because I did not play the tank too much, but I can assure you that every time I got touched into the gun mantlet or the turret, there is every freaking time one thing that gets out. It's either a crew member that dies, engine power goes off, ammo rack, etc, etc. And it can be frustrating if you don't equip your tank properly and don't use the right consumables. So please guys, equip yourself with a multi-purpose pack plus a repair kit or a first aid kit depending on your choice, but please equip it. Now, what can we tell about the tank? It's a light tank, which means that at the beginning of the game, you are supposed to spot. And this is exactly what we're gonna do. We go straight to the mighty spot, which is the middle of the map, in order to snap maybe 1 or 2 shells before going out to a safe cover. What do you want to do with a Rover? It's basically a 3-step gameplay. At the beginning of the game, within the first 30 seconds, you spot for your team like I'm currently doing. The second part of the replay is staying with the rest of your team or see if there are any openings that you can get using your mobility in order to snap your shells, take advantage of your opponents by getting into their back, etc, etc. And the last part of the gameplay is obviously finishing the life of the enemies that are either too slow to be to the main fight or that were lost during the battle, going at the bottom of the map to avoid getting chased, etc, etc. But in my opinion, the Rover overall is a pretty enjoyable tank. It's not the tank of the year, but it's still enjoyable. Now, is it worth it? Is it really worth it spending your money if your only goal is to get the Rover? I'm going to tell you no straight away, because we have another tank, a battle pass tank, which is called the Agent, a tier 6 German tank that is a light tank and that is doing, in my opinion, a better job because it's actually equipped with armor. The armor on light tanks is always something missing, except for some rare exceptions at tier 10 or at tier 6 with the Agent I just talked about. But basically, it means that you are going to get punished for every single mistake you make. What does it tell us about the tank? That it's not a tank to get if you are a newbie. You would rather focus on heavies, maybe tank destroyers, why not, but definitely not light tanks. Which means that if you are looking at this video and just starting, do not buy the Rover. Buy the Battle Pass for something else because you're going to get the Rover anyway, but do not play too much the Rover. You are going to destroy all your stats with it. Now, talking once again about the gameplay. Did you see what I do here? I did not try to push forward. I did not try to find openings. I stayed in the back with my teammates because with my 1.9k DPM, I was more than useful. We managed to kill 3 of their tanks, allowing us to take the advantage. And now, of course, using that advantage, I'm gonna play a little bit harder on my opponents. How do you do that? By first making sure that you are not the one everyone is focused on. So here it's not the case because the June is trying something, so we're gonna wait for him to try to maybe go hey or something. He doesn't want to. He's a little bit upset and stubborn, but it's not a problem. We are gonna rush through. After all, even if I take a shot, we have Dicker Max. We're gonna get him from the back. And that's all that matters. So there we go, snapping a shell because I see that I have an opening. And this is the last part of the gameplay. You see at the end, there are openings. We are here to finish off targets thanks to our mobility. And this is exactly what we're doing. We are lucky enough to play on the right map because we had the possibility of using our gun depression, and the fact that you can spot pretty much everything within the first 30 seconds of the game by going to the middle definitely helps. But you see, you are condensing all the gameplays that will make you a better player. Spotting, learning map knowledge, because you will definitely need to run, to chase, to stay with your team, to know where to place yourself. And the fun factor, because as you are the most mobile, you are also the one that will finish off targets at the end of the game. So yeah, it's definitely a cool tank. Not the best, as I already mentioned, but something you could do great games with as long as you are skilled. Now, a question remains. Is it a good tank against tier 7? In my opinion, light tanks, and the purpose of light tank is not to fight against tanks of the same tier, because they are clearly advantaged, because that's what it used to be in World of Tank PC, and I kept that state of mind. Maybe that it's less true in World of Tank Blitz, but I think it's kind of unfair to have light tanks fighting tanks of the same tier. But basically, when you are playing against upper tiers, what do you need to do? Obviously, play a little bit more carefully, because at that tier you have the SU-152 that can literally one-shot you if it wants to, and if the RNG is with it. But most importantly, you are mostly a spotter before being a hard attacker. So you want to stay in the back, or at least make sure to spot from positions from which you will not get attacked back. But here it's not the case, so we're gonna play a little bit aggressively. We're still waiting for some friends to help us, but unfortunately that Hellcat is a little bit pissing me off. On top of that, there is something at the bottom here that is just waiting for us to snap its shells. Not a problem, we are gonna go in. We're probably gonna use some adrenaline here, maybe by going closer to them. After all, we had the advantage. Let's make our tank the great one, the sword, I don't know how we say this, of my teammates. There we go, snapping my shells thanks to my crazy abilities and my crazy accuracy. Finishing off. No, we did not finish him. Not a problem, boys. Oh my gosh, we got surprised here. Not a problem. We are gonna go for the good old spotting for the allies. Book. Ah, so there you are hiding, huh? There you are, boy. I'm gonna sneak a shell and hiding back. Woo! Okay, I took a shell. That's my problem. I'm gonna wait here. Hopefully the ARL is not gonna try anything. And as you can see, we have a lot of penetration because we can go through the ARL without using gold shell, which is good enough to be mentioned, boys. Good enough to be mentioned. Let's wait a spot for the rest of the team. They know that they can't do much. Even if the Bretagne Panther is coming for us, we are going to be able to kill him thanks to our teammates. Boom. Thanks for coming. See you later. And now we get the alligator. All right. There we go. We sneak one shell. We wait for the allies to help me. We sneak another one. We are probably going to take one here. No, we can circle. Oh, I'm probably not going to try this. 3, 2, 1, and it's over. Once again, we baited people and we get the SU. We were kind of lucky on this one because we served as a bait and it worked perfectly. But do not try these kind of things, boys, if you are playing against tier 7. Because against tier 7, if you take, for example, a shot like the ARL, but it's coming from an IS, you're going to lose half your hit points within 2 seconds, which is not something that is good for your statistics. So in definitive, the Rover, cool tank, no armor, a great mobility, a great gun, definitely a catch for the people that didn't manage to get the agent, but if you already have the agent, you can pass on it. But I want to remind you that those battle pass are always worth it, so please give it a try. On top of that, I want to mention that there is a promo running on App Gallery. It's not sponsored, but there is a promo, 50% off the battle pass. You can check it out right now. See ya.